And for Supervisors, Madam Clerk, please call roll.
Yes.
Here.
Richard Allen is nodded as chair. Doug Rivera.
Here.
Rusty Robinson.
Here.
Richard Hernandez.
Here. At this time, we will put the 4 members present, one in the back room. At this time, we'll have a break for 30 minutes for a closed session while we get the repairs done on the video. We'll come back with 5. Thank you.
Good morning. Today is Tuesday, May 23rd, 2023. This is a regular meeting of the Kings County Board of Supervisors. Thank you for your patience this morning when we dealt with our technical difficulties. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Joe Nevs,
Here.
Richard Valley,
Here.
Doug Verboon,
Here.
Rusty Robinson.
Here.
Richard Coogan.
Thank you. Everyone please rise for the invocation and Mr. Nathan Harris. Do the honors, please. Honors, please.
Good morning. Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for another day. May we use it for your glory. Lord, we lift up Kings County and all of its citizens and just ask your light would shine upon this county. We are so grateful for all of the great blessings you have bestowed upon us. We ask for extra blessings on our supervisors and all of our department heads. And we're grateful to be in this community, and we're grateful for your son, Jesus. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
I'm leading us in the pledge of allegiance.
Please join me as we salute our great American flag. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, that takes us to employee recognition. Area, Alexia, would you like to lead us on this?
Yes, I'm gonna go ahead and call Vince.
Morning, Chair, members of the board. Unfortunately, Juliet couldn't be here today, so I'm here to present on her behalf. I'm here to present Carrie, who has been selected employee reporter. Just a couple of things about Carrie. She's been with the job training office since 2019, so about 4 years. We're very fortunate to bring her on as staff, been her manager throughout that whole time, and she's been great. That's all I gotta say, and to sum it up. When Carrie came on, we basically started a new program with the justice involved population in partnership with probation and also the sheriff's department. And Carrie was very integral in getting those programs started in terms of curriculum. What she has been involved in is establishing job search materials, resumes, interviews, mock interview workshops, word workshops, teaching them how to type. Not only in the jail does she go in there 3 times a week now, but also she works at the Data Reporting Center 3 times a week at this point too, I believe. With the success we've had there, we've had about 300 plus individuals been referred from probation side of it. And she's had an employment rate, I assisted them with getting about 65% employment for those individuals. So these are individuals that are incarcerated, coming out, seeking assistance. In addition to working with the Community Corrections Partnership, also known as CCP, she does the jail workshops, she does the Jail Reporting Center, and she actually started the program at the juvenile hall to do the same with the youth, offering them workshops in resume development, again, word, typing, financing, just general life skills to try and get them off the track that they're on a successful track to being, good members of the community. One of the key things she actually did when she came into our program is she started a resource book for individuals that, not only for the justice involved population, but also for anybody within our office that we make sure at the job training office. And that entails basically resources, for housing, food, Medicare, mental health. She's also a regular attendee at the KPFB, Kings Park Prevention. So she's always trying to get out there to do anything she can to assist the individuals, not only with her population, but the population of Kings County that we serve. Carrie's efforts and hard work have led to success of all these programs and a strong partnership with the Kings County Probation Department. I'd like to thank Leonard, of course, for that partnership, the expansion of it, and then also with the workshops at the jail. She has assisted many individuals to overcome their barriers, increase their self-esteem, become employed, and on the road to self-sufficiency. Carrie's an exemplary employee, not only a great asset to JTO, but to the justice involved population and the community of Kings County. So I'd like to applaud her on all her efforts and thank you to the committee and to the board for selecting her for employee reporting.
the honors for us.
Gary, I know you come with many generations of public service in Kings County, so we thank you very much. Your mom, your grandma, everything that goes back, and you got another generation coming up. So on behalf of the Kings County Board of Supervisors, we do have a certificate here with all of the proper signatures and certainly guaranteed to be a family heirloom. So we want to make sure that you get this. All right. And then we also have a couple of other items. One of them is also a one-of-a-kind guaranteed to be a family heirloom. You don't want to lose. It's a Kings County lapel pin. There is a number on the back, but don't try to look for it. And then we also have a cap here for you, and you gotta have one of these, and so we certainly want you to remember that every time you wear it and wherever you have it around. So congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you, board.
Thank you. Yeah. Come on in. Congratulations, good job.
At 9 o'clock?
Exactly. You gotta have that.
That's right.
One, two, Kings County.
Good
Perfect.
job.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Oh, sure.
Thank you. All right.
Congratulations. The next item is on schedule here. It's any person may not regularly support this time, any item on the agenda, or any other items of interest to the public that is here to subject matter jurisdiction of the board. Madam Clerk, do you have any speaker cards?
I do. I have no written correspondence, but the first speaker is Alex Walker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good morning, Board of Supervisors. My name is Alex Walker. I'm here to proudly present the Rotary Club of Lemoore. I want to take a moment to thank Kings County Behavioral Health for sharing resources with us to commemorate May as Mental Health Awareness Month. Those resources included magnets that have different resources for mental health, as well as the ribbon I'm proudly wearing today. And I also want to take a moment to thank Supervisor Verboon for joining us at one of our recent meetings to talk about flooding and policy issues facing our county. We truly appreciate your service in attending that meeting. I also want to extend an invite to the other Board of Supervisors to attend our meetings. We will feed you well. I know I'm biased, but it's Michelin star quality food, so you'll be very happy if you join us. I also wanted, on my own personal capacity as a resident of Kings County, to encourage the county to continue to do social media. I was very happy to see that we have new social media pages, and in addition to following those, I wanted to make a recommendation that we either currently utilize our LinkedIn for County Kings more often. The last post was made 5 months ago as a job bid, but I think it's a perfect space to not only highlight jobs in Kings County, but successes such as the celebration that we just had for an employee, and just really promoting what's great about Kings County. And I also wanted to express my support for having dual language translations on our public notices, such as for the flooding hearing that was coming up soon, the town hall. I really enjoyed that. It was also in English and Spanish, because even though the majority of our county does speak English, there is a significant population that also speaks Spanish only. And being here to speak today is a privilege of my time, but access is a right, in my opinion. And being able to make sure that all residents, regardless of the language they speak, are updated is very important. So thank you for your service, and thank you for what you're doing.
It's great comments.
Thank you. The next speaker is Brandon Sanders.
Sir.
He's gonna bring us free tickets for boat rides.
Good morning, Chairman, Supervisors. Brandon Sanders. I am serving as the liaison officer with PG&E's Incident Management Team in response to the ongoing flood event in the Larry Lake Basin. Just here this morning to kind of take advantage of this venue to provide you with an update. I'd like to begin by saying we've been activated for nearly 7 weeks at this point with 0 safety incidents. We're very proud of that performance from our team in the field. We currently have approximately 135 customers out of service. And I would probably characterize that more as points of service as opposed to customers, because these are largely pieces of equipment such as pumps and the like that are submerged and unable to receive electric service. So there's not really any impact per se to residents or businesses other than those that are within the flooded area and inaccessible for the most part. So we've done a really good job keeping customer impact to a minimum. We are going to be here for a while. We're actively out there using a number of different specialized pieces of equipment to remove things like transformers, regulator banks, and capacitors, things that you would typically see hanging from a power pole. Those pieces of equipment have a cooling oil in them that we do not want to allow into the lake, so we're actively removing those within the inundated area, just for environmental and public safety. Certainly very mindful of the impact to the environment that could potentially have, and we're active in the field removing those pieces of equipment. We're staging those at the Lemoore Service Center so that as the water recedes, we'll be able to reinstall those like for like, bring those impacted service points back into operation in quick fashion once it's safe to do so. Beyond that, I just wanted to let everyone know that PG&E will be present at the Corcoran Town Hall this evening. We appreciate the invitation, and just really can't say enough nice things about your various department heads, Sheriff's Office, OES, everyone else has been just a pleasure to work with. And we're just really proud to be here and support Kings County. So thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Next speaker is Sheriff Robinson.
Morning, Sheriff.
Good morning, sir. I got a couple of things. I know normally Commander Bevan sends you all an email update after the meetings. He was off yesterday. And so I wanted to provide your board with some information. So Dave Robinson, Kings County Sheriff, good morning, board members. On Friday, myself and several others met with Senator Hurtado and 3 other senators from Sacramento, first in Visalia and then out at the lake bottom. The significance from the meeting in Visalia is Department of Water Resources was there, their engineers, and they told the senators that were present that their newest prediction was 184.5. Would be the highest elevation, and that didn't include water diversion. So that was just what they felt, the snowpack, if everything went as planned without water diversion. So that was good news on Friday, and then obviously today and yesterday we learned some more information I'll cover here in a second. Yesterday I was down there at the lake bottom, and the water now extends from Highway 43 south of Corcoran. There's a spot there where the railroad tracks are right next to Highway 43, and there's a culvert. The water has flooded up to the railroad tracks right there at the junction. It's called Junction 33, where it goes into the Alpha area. And so the water is now flooded from that area to Stratford. So it now runs from 43 to almost 41. And so it's a pretty significant lake as we speak. Yesterday, we had our regular Monday meeting with the Boswell Company and their representatives, and there were several of us from the county there. They announced yesterday, if we didn't have any objections to it, that would be our last meeting together, because the numbers that they're seeing at this point are manageable. And they said they could always call a meeting if necessary, but it was good news yesterday that they felt the numbers that they were seeing were manageable. The lake that they announced yesterday by their measurements is 179.4 in elevation. And they feel like 180 to 181 will be a maximum here in the next couple of weeks that the lake would reach. If it gets there, it may stay actually pretty close to where they are. Currently, there's no flows coming from the Tule, which is good news. For the Kauai, they predict, the Boswell Corporation engineers predict a slight chance coming from the Kauai in June. The South Fork currently, the flows are near a summer high, which is good news. So near a summer high for irrigation demand is what the South Fork is doing currently at about 1,200 cubic feet per second, which is down from, Joe, about 2,000 cubic feet per second.
Yeah, 2,200.
Yeah, 2,200. The intertie was opened up in Kern County over the weekend. which is now taking 500 cubic feet per second in the aqueduct south. And it can actually go up to 1,000 cubic feet per second if necessary. The other information that was very significant that they provided yesterday was in 1983, by the month of May, 100,000 acre feet had come into the lake bottom from the Kern River. So I'll repeat that, 100,000 acre feet by the month of May had come into the lake bottom from the Kern River. And so far this year, we've had 0 acre feet come into the lake bottom. And now with the intertie opened up, it's going to be very insignificant. In 1983, 25,000 acre feet came in from the Tule. And that was in May as well. So obviously we had water come in from the Tule in March and April, but in May we haven't had any. So that was 0 this year. In 1983, 80,000 acre feet came from the Kauai. And obviously we already had some acre feet coming from the Kauai, but they're only predicting a possible additional 10,000 acre feet coming in from the Kauai the rest of the summer. So those were all really good numbers. The Boswell Corporation has been able to negotiate free of charge, giving water to upstream individuals and businesses to the tune of about 350 cubic feet per second. And they anticipate running that and even much higher numbers throughout the summer to help with the diversion. One thing they did bring up was for future work that needs to be done, whether it be in the immediate or in the long term, is Pozo Creek, because that did have an impact on us in the Alpha area. And if some, even though they don't control that area, they would like to partner with someone to make sure that some work gets done in the Pozo Creek stream bed. So that way we don't have the issues that we had this year where the high water flows were breaching in several locations and impacting the Highland Canal. This morning, there was a San Francisco Chronicle newspaper article that came out that the governor's office, Brian Ferguson, announced that they believe the peak of 182 would be next week. And he had advised the San Francisco Chronicle how lucky we had been that it played out that a hot storm didn't happen. And then in the article, it states the new state DWR new model's high point is going to be May 31st. So next week, or 10 days from now, 181.1 feet, and that would span across 182 square miles. So realistically, over the last 3 to 4 days, we've had a lot of great news. You know, we had all the signs up and everybody's praying for rain the last few years, and we got a lot of rain. And then this spring, everybody was praying for a slow, steady, you know, nice, easy spring weather pattern. And that's literally what we've had for April and May, with a few hot days here and there. So, you know, the good Lord's looking down on us. I have a recommendation based on the information that we're seeing and what we're seeing out in the field, that the board consider modifying the local emergency order. Item number 3 says all persons are further prohibited from being on levees and in the parks that may abut the Kings River, Tule River, and the Cross Creek Canal, and any other water bodies or waterways within the County of Kings jurisdiction for the duration of the local emergency. I feel like at this point that number 3 can be deleted. We can leave it up to, obviously in the public right-of-way areas, we can do the enforcement there. And this is only for persons being on there, not boat. This has nothing to do with being in the waterway. This is only on the dirt areas around the waterway. What we're running into, like for example, in Stratford, people love to go to Stratford and fish. Well, technically under the ordinance item number 3, that is currently illegal. And there's a lot of other areas, especially south of 198, between 198 and Stratford on the Kings River, where people love to go just stand on the banks and fish and take their kids and fish. And right now, it's a mixed signal, because some of my staff are doing enforcement, some Fish and Game are doing enforcement, some others aren't. And so when it comes down to just being on those levee areas, if it's a public access area, we would like to not have to do enforcement there for folks just standing on the banks fishing or taking pictures. If it's a private access area, it's trespassing. So we don't need the ordinance to say you can't be on private property. We already have laws on the books that say you can't trespass. We have laws on the books that say you can't go on weirs. We have laws on the books that say you can't damage or alter weirs that we can already do enforcement on. So I would like the board to consider removing item number 3. So that way folks that just want to go out there and fish from the banks with their kids and friends can do those things without us having to worry about it. So that concludes my report. I'll be glad to answer any questions you may have. And for the record, item number 3, under the spirit of the law in the state of California, I'm going to put out to my staff to really stop doing that enforcement there. But I think for cohesiveness, it would be helpful to have the order updated to not include just being on the banks any longer. Would be okay, as long as they're on a public access area. Additionally, we are trying to create 2 points, 19th and Manteca and 10th and Niles, for public viewing areas where they can be on a public roadway or on the edge of a public roadway and actually take pictures and things like that. It makes these things easier for us to do enforcement if we create a couple spots where folks can go in those areas where we don't want them. Then we can, do some warnings and enforcement, pointing them to the areas where they can go and see the lake. Because let's face it, it's a historic moment. We're not trying to discourage people from being part of history and seeing history. But there are some areas that people are still accessing that if we can point them to areas where they can go see the water without being in the farmer's way, in our way, and, doing any damage, things like that, we want to open that up for the public. Be happy to answer your questions.
Mr. Chair, currently PG&E has 19th and Manteca blocked off.
They do.
And so I don't know when they'll be done with their operations. I didn't see any emergency operations going on there yet.
Yeah, we're going to go out there and take a look at both of those locations and work with Dominic, the roads department, will work with PG&E to just see if we can create some points where people can actually drive in and out without passing road closed signs, and to be able to park their car and get out and, take pictures and things like that. So,
Yeah, and then the Empire Weir number 2 right there, the that bypass is still open.
Yeah,
I'm not sure I want to open that up, or at least that area, restrict area, until they get that breach repaired.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, especially when it comes to getting in the water. And I'm not suggesting at this
Right.
point about getting in the water. I think we need to do some inspections in those areas
Yeah.
first, but there's already a lot of people fishing in that area.
Correct, yeah, just that earthen dam though continues to slough off,
Yeah,
and you don't want to be too close to the edge on that one.
yeah.
But
And we can work with roads to put some barricades out there or something.
Correct.
Try to keep.
Yeah, and then once that's repaired, then that elevation is going to come up.
Yeah,
But the velocity will slow down.
yeah. And great point too, because they did mention yesterday that they do plan on repairing that very soon.
Correct.
So that way they have more control again on where the water's going to flow.
Yeah, so if we can block that area off or restrict area and that one area that's still just
Yeah,
dirt to water.
Yeah.
Because like I say, it just continues to slough off. And I'll feel a lot better when they get that stabilized and that part's done.
yeah.
Realizing that elevation again is going to rise, but the velocity is going to slow
And
down.
we'll circle back with them to see when they might be doing that, if they have a calendar date in mind yet.
Either that or we just yellow tape off
Yeah.
some areas, because there's not a lot of shade there, so
Yeah.
it's a hardcore fisherman.
Yeah, and it's
to be there.
a more difficult spot to get to based on
Right.
its location, which is nice, actually.
Correct. And the velocity is so fast there,
Yeah.
I'm not sure what kind of fishing you do there. Thank you, Sheriff.
Sheriff, thank you for the information. Appreciate you being at the town hall tonight, and as you mentioned, a lot of the information you'll put out tonight.
I
So
will.
let's get an update for the community. I do want to say this though, that going back to the San Francisco Chronicle article, I believe there's a photo in there from this person that said something to the fact that they now believe that Corcoran, Stratford, surrounding communities around the lake are now cleared from being flooded. And so that's big. He also said, hey, look, it's not the all clear sign, Mother Nature, things beyond human control. In the levees that could cause a breach. And so we all get that, but is going back to weighing that more on good news and positive news. I want to give a lot of that credit to our county staff, people like you, Abraham Valencia, Tom and Ed, Kyria, the department heads have stepped up, and we're in that emergency operations center for the last couple of months. Going back to last Thursday, appreciate the work of the governor. That water's flowing to the aqueduct and the water diversion due to his executive order, which saves us from even having the water, as you mentioned, even coming our way. And so as much as I do appreciate anytime senators come to Kings County, a lot of that work is done prior to their arrival. And we work to help ourselves. That's just the way we do things in Kings County. And so thank you to everybody.
Yeah, and that's a great point. So our push now, you know, in dealing with the senators and the assembly members is making sure they vote for it in the budget. You know, because obviously the governor's put it in the state budget, so we'll make sure.
Well, we've heard twice. We've heard it both ways. And I think my last conversation with Gary is that money is already set aside and is not going to get into politics in the state. But you could be right too.
Some of the senators were under the impression that they were gonna get to vote on it.
Yeah.
Well, that's why.
So-
They don't want to take credit for it.
Well, they
I don't
love,
care.
they love it. They let it say that they saved the day.
Yeah.
I think it's more about trying to leverage the governor on the budget. But that's what I was asking about on Thursday and Friday.
I think the confusion is that when the governor announced the announcement, it came out in the media briefing that was about the proposed budget. And so it was tied in with that. But we confirmed with Cal, yes, as of yesterday, and they said that it was not budget.
Yeah.
Great, that's great news.
Yeah.
Once.
It's good news, and that's work that we did locally and together amongst each other. Okay, so again, just thank you to everybody for that. Everyone who's going to give the town hall to help tonight. Appreciate you and all the work that's being done. It's a ton of help. Thank you.
Yeah.
Did you explain to them in the meeting on Friday that if they had another dam above Pine Flat called Rogers Crossing, we wouldn't be in a situation at all right now?
I didn't bring that up, sir.
Yeah, they want
It's a
to,
great point, though.
but you know what they talk about?
Themselves?
You know that too. They talk about another bond. There's two bonds. There's one in the Assembly, one in the
She's in
Senate.
it. I never saw that.
No, I know. So we worked on a water bond. Now there's another bond that they want to get on the ballot for us to vote on to help us with emergency flow infrastructure.
Yeah, flood, if they had-
Senator
Exactly.
Eggman, who was there, mentioned a couple of times that she is really pushing hard for more water storage, but I think, you know, all of us are a little skeptical because we've heard that discussion for decades now.
Decades.
Yeah.
Then,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Chair, I think signage that says no swimming, no boating.
Yeah, and so, you know, in the past, when we did this in 2017, maybe Dominic still has the signs, but they put up some signs along the Kings River. So I'm sure we can dig some out again and try to get some signage put out again as we gear up for the summer.
Yeah, because I think, again, as you pointed out, anything on the banks is all right, but unfortunately, sometimes the swimming or boating or rafting.
Yeah, and we can work with the PIOs to make sure that the messaging gets out correctly too, that it, you know, fishing from the bank is one thing on public access points or approved, you know, by the property owner is different than being on or in the water.
Yeah.
And I would like to provide banner for your clients.
Well, that's a good idea too. Anybody that you want to send my way in the plane. Thank you, appreciate it.
They use it on the airboat.
Our next speaker is Sarah.
Morning, Madam DA.
Good morning. First and foremost, I want to thank our sheriff as well as this board for taking decisive action and mitigating the flood. It sounds like it's a very positive report this morning. Unfortunately, I do not have a positive report from our office. Unfortunately, I received the resignation of one of our deputy district attorneys. He will be moving on to other employment in Riverside County. His last day is July 7th. Fortunately, I don't have the staff to replace him, and the DA's office will not be able to dedicate a specific deputy district attorney to handle sexual assault crimes. In response, I will probably take part of our sexual assault crimes that are fairly simple and straightforward and give them to calendar deputies. And then the more complicated cases are going to go to myself as well as my two assistant district attorneys. Unfortunately, that means that our efforts are going to be diverted away from administration in order that we can properly prosecute cases in this county. I have been working with administration and I want to extend and voice my appreciation. They have been very receptive to some of the ideas that I have proposed, and I'm hoping that with future board agenda items, that this board will be also very receptive and open and take my suggestions into consideration. I do have a concern. At the last department head meeting, I was advised that the salary survey will not be concluded until December of this year. That is too long. We are not competitive. We do not offer the same salaries. And there is a very small applicant pool for deputy district attorneys. I received a notice from the Merced County District Attorney's Office. They've had so few applicants that they had to shut down their domestic violence unit, their sexual assault unit, and they will be shutting down their gang unit and will not be prosecuting gangs in Merced County due to a lack of personnel. Thank you.
What county was that?
Merced.
All the parts that I have, and it doesn't really work.
Anyone from the chambers like to make them schedule before we move on? Got plenty of time. Seeing none, okay. Thank you everyone for your comments. We move on to approval of the minutes. Item A, require a closed session from regular meeting, May 16th, 2023. Cancel. Anything?
There's nothing to report.
So we'll move on to item B, approval of the minutes from regular meeting from May 16th, 2023.
That second?
First by Lynn, second by Nez. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Joe Nevs.
Yes.
Richard Valley. Doug Verboon.
Yes.
Rusty Robinson.
Yes.
Richard Dominguez.
Yes. Passes 5 in favor. Thank you. Multiple items on the consent calendar. The board members had a chance to review them. There are no questions. Chair will entertain a motion.
Move.
Motion by Agenda, second by Lynn, Madam Clerk.
Joe Nevs.
Yes.
Richard Valley. Doug Verboon.
Yes.
Rusty Robinson.
Yes.
Richard Dominguez.
That passes 5 in favor. Going on to regular agenda items. First one's item A. Your health department. Good morning, ma'am.
Morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Amanda Barrage, Contracts Unit Program Manager, representing Dr. Lewis in the Kings County Behavioral Health Department today. Today, I'd like to introduce you to Juan Flores. He is the Substance Use Disorder System of Care Program Manager, and he'll just be presenting our item today. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. All right. Morning, this Supervisor Valley, members of the board. My name is Juan Flores, Program Manager that oversees the Substance Use Disorder System of Care with the Behavioral Health Department. Today, I'm before your board to request that you adopt a resolution supporting and promoting Kings County Sober Graduation Program and authorizing behavioral health to provide funds to Sober Graduation Program in the cities of Avenal, Corcoran, Hamburg, and Lemoore. Each year, the Behavioral Health Department reaches out to sober rec committees throughout the county and provides sponsorships to support sober rec committees and their work to host sober rec events throughout the county for the purpose of keeping high school students involved during the graduation period by participating in an all-night event with food, entertainment, and prizes. These events have been proven to be an effective tool for drastically reducing alcohol-related automobile accidents and incidents of violence during the graduation time period. Authorization to provide funds for the 2023 sober graduation will support around 1,739 graduating seniors countywide at 12 county high schools in the cities of Avenal, Corcoran, Hanford, and Lemoore. This year, the department has increased the funds from $250 to $500 for each school for a total of $6,000. These funds are included in the fiscal year 22-23 adopted budget unit 422-100. With that, I would request that you and your board adopt a resolution supporting and promoting Kings County Sober Grad programs and authorize behavioral health to provide funds to the Sober Grad program in the cities of Corcoran, Avenal, Hanford, and Lemoore. Thank you for consideration, and I'm available for any questions.
Outstanding work on that one. Any comments, questions from the board? Keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Move with presented.
Motion by Verboen.
Second.
Second by Virginia, Madam Clerk.
Joe Nevs.
Yes.
Richard Valley. Doug Verboon.
Yes.
Rusty Robinson.
Yes.
Richard Dominguez.
Yes. Cheers.
Oxymoron.
I always take my wife's alcohol money to pay for the sober grad.
No.
It helps on both cases.
Item B, community development agency, four items. Are you there? Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Chairman Valley and the supervisors of the board. My name is Noelle Tomlinson, planner with the Community Development Agency. Today I bring before you 3 agenda items that are separate but fall under the umbrella of the housing element update. So I would like to give a quick background of the housing element update first before covering each agenda item individually. Pursuant to Government Code Section 65580, the housing element of the 2035 Kings County General Plan must be updated every 8 years. The 6th cycle update is due for the Department of Housing and Community Development certification in 2024 and will cover the planning period from 2024 to 2032. The housing element is an important piece to the general plan because it prioritizes the expansion of housing opportunities and strives to accommodate Kings County's housing needs across all areas and economic levels, among other things. In the past, Kings County has collaborated with the 4 cities, Avenel, Corcoran, Hanford, and Lemoore, to produce a multi-jurisdictional housing element that creates a comprehensive housing plan for the entire region of Kings County, not just the unincorporated area. When we work together, all 5 jurisdictions share the cost of the qualified consultant hired for the housing element update instead of each jurisdiction incurring the cost separately. Funding for the housing element update is partially provided by HCD through Regional Early Action Planning Program funds, or REAP funds. REAP funds have been allocated to Kings County Association of Governments, KCAG, for sub-allocation to Kings County and the 4 cities for housing planning activities, such as the housing element update. The remaining balance of the housing element update costs will be divided between the 5 jurisdictions based on the percentage of each jurisdiction's population. All 3 agreements I am presenting today have been reviewed by County Council and RIS.
So your presentation includes items 1 through 3?
1 through 3, yes.
Were you done? I'm sorry.
What was that?
Were you completed?
Yes, yeah, I'll discuss each one individually. The first agenda item before you is the memorandum of understanding with KCAG for the sub-allocation of REAP funds for housing planning activities to the county and the 4 cities. The San Joaquin Valley REAP Committee signed a regional MOU to allocate the funds to regional jurisdictions, including KCAG, and KCAG is then responsible for sub-allocating the grant funds locally. The multi-jurisdictional housing element update is a qualified activity for the use of REAP funds. The estimated amount of REAP funds to be sub-allocated to Kings County and the cities of Avenel, Corcoran, Hanford, and Lemoore is $311,858. REAP funds are one-time and must be expended by December 31st, 2024. The staff recommendation is to approve the memorandum of understanding with KCAG, effective immediately through December 31st, 2024, to administer the REAP funds for the multi-jurisdictional 2024-2032 housing element update.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments from the board?
So move, Mr. Chair.
Second. Motion by Dennis, second by Facundo. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Joe Harris.
Yes.
Richard Valley. Ted Boone.
Yes.
Trustee Robinson.
Yes.
Richard Fagundes.
Yes.
Item passes 5. Thank you. Timmy.
The second agenda item is for the agreement between Kings County and the 4 cities, Avenel, Corcoran, Hanford, and Lemoore, to collaborate on the 2024-2032 multi-jurisdictional housing element update. As mentioned earlier, the collaboration between the 5 jurisdictions will result in a more comprehensive and cohesive regional housing plan, as well as provide cost savings on the update preparation since the cost is shared and the 5 jurisdictions will not incur those costs separately. The Kings County Community Development Agency will assume the administrative role that includes overseeing the RFP process, providing staff support to the hired consultant, and being a point of contact between the jurisdictions and the consultant as needed. The agreement also states that each jurisdiction will be responsible to cover their fair share of costs incurred beyond the REAP funds sub-allocation based on each jurisdiction's percentage of population with the federal and prison populations removed. Historically, collaboration on the multi-jurisdictional housing element update has been successful and beneficial for all 5 jurisdictions. Staff recommends approving the agreement with the 4 cities for cooperation on the housing element update, effective until the final adoption of the multi-jurisdictional 2024-2032 housing element update is complete.
Okay. Questions, comments from the board?
Presented approval. Second. Third.
Motion by Madam Clerk.
Joe Harris.
Yes.
Richard Valley. Ted Boone.
Yes.
Trustee Robinson.
Yes.
Richard Fagundes.
The third and final agenda item for the housing element is the agreement for services with Realty Planners Group to prepare the multi-jurisdictional 2024 housing element update. A request for proposals for a qualified consultant for the housing element update was originally issued on June 9th, 2022, and 2 bids were received. One of the respondents was highly qualified with previous housing element experience, as well as having an existing working relationship with Kings County and the cities. However, while we were in the process of finalizing all the various items to go with the consultant agreement, the bidder opted to withdraw the bid and retire. Hoping to attract more qualified bidders to such a large project, we opted to revise the RFP before sending it out again to allow for more than one consultant or firm to work together on the housing element, if so desired. This revised RFP was issued on March 3rd, 2023, closing on April 3rd, 2023, for a qualified consultant or consultants to prepare housing element update in compliance with HCD requirements. Realty Planners Group proposes their sole services and scope of work in compliance with HCD for the cost of $489,300 for the housing element update. The timeline begins in June 2023 with projected HCD certification occurring within the required 120 days of January 15th, 2024. RPG is currently working with 2 other jurisdictions on their 6th cycle housing element preparation and HCD certification, and that experience will be beneficial. REAP funds will cover $311,858 of the cost, leaving a remaining balance of $177,442 to be shared by the 5 jurisdictions as agreed upon. Based on population percentage, Kings County will be responsible for $33,678 of the remaining balance, which is included in next fiscal year's budget 23-24. The agreement with Realty Planners Group will be terminated when the multi-jurisdictional 2024-2032 housing element update has been certified by HCD and adopted by the Kings County Board of Supervisors and individual city councils. Also, Mr. Isaac George, CEO and Director of Realty Planners Group, is in the audience today and available to you for questions. Staff recommends approving the agreement with Realty Planners Group for services to prepare the multi-jurisdictional 2024 housing element update, effective until final adoption of the housing element update is complete.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the board?
I'll move to present. Thank you.
Motion by Brandon, second by Thompson. Thanks, sir, for being here. We do appreciate you taking the time to come to Kings County. Thank you. So, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Joe Yes.
Yes.
Richard Valley. Doug Burgum.
Yes.
Rusty Robinson.
Yes.
Richard Burgum.
Yes.
Item passes. I'm in favor. Thank you for the presentations today. Takes us to item number 4, our community development.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Chuck Kin, Community Development Agency. I come before you today to report out on the monthly actions from the Planning Commission meeting on May 1st, where they discussed one item of business. It was conditional use permit number 20-06 for Foster Farms, which proposed to reestablish a poultry farm at an previously occupied facility at 19744 Kent Avenue in Lemoore. The proposed project is to be implemented in 2 phases. Phase 1 proposes that to place a maximum of 387,692 chickens or 112,000 turkeys on site per flock for grow out operations. And for turkey brooding, Foster Farms has requested a maximum flock size of up to 280,000 poults at any given time. In phase 2 of the project, they will expand the existing outdoor poultry pens from 75,000 square feet to a maximum of 189,000 square feet. And in addition, they would demolish and reconstruct all the structures and utilities on the site. The Planning Commission opened a public hearing. There was no public comment, and they did approve it unanimously 3-0.
Does this be to replace the one that's underwater right now?
No, this is for relocation. That one that's underwater, it was in operation. As soon as the water is clear, they'll be able to clean out and repair if what is necessary to be able to get back into operation as soon as possible. They will not have to go back through the zone.
Anyone got any other questions of Mr. County on the report?
If there are no questions or comments, now moves to adopt.
Second.
Motion by Inez, second by Lieutenant, Madam Clerk.
Jim Henson,
Yes.
Richard Valley, Doug Mogul,
Yes.
Rusty Robinson.
Yes.
Richard Fabius.
Yes.
That passes 5 in favor. Thank you. Next item C comes from administration. Morning, Ms. Boyette.
Good morning, sir. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Matthew Boyette, Kings County Administration. The county received a notice of non-gaming land acquisition application from the Bureau of Indian Affairs, which was filed on behalf of the Santa Rosa Indian community of the Santa Rosa Rancheria, or what we commonly refer to around here as the tribe. So the tribe submitted a request to have 436.91 acres of their land placed in trust with the federal government, essentially making it part of their sovereign nation. And so as the Bureau does, they survey the local jurisdictions and want comments on what, if any, local impacts there would be of removing the subject property from the tax roll. So the 436.91 acres are contiguous with current in-trust land. And it is actually located on the southwest. It's located southwest of the hotel and casino portion on the north side of Kent Avenue in between 18th and 17th. For the 2022-2023 tax year, all the parcels in subject here have a total combined tax roll of $139,361, which does include $4,282 of special assessments for the South Fork Kings Groundwater Sustainability Agency. As your board recalls, on February 28th of this year, you took similar action on a similar request for 37.19 acres. In support of that application. The parcels in question this morning are contiguous with those parcels as well. So we're just looking for direction from your board this morning as to the county's response from this notice received by the Bureau. So that concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thanks, sir.
Yes, sir.
Questions or comments?
Did anyone hear from the tribe?
Not that I am aware of. Oh, and I did forget one thing in there. On the subject property, the tribe is looking to develop a recreational RV park and fishing pond. So it's part of their plans as to the use of the property.
You've been the lead on the county and communicating with the tribe on this?
We received the notice from the Bureau and then we just send up our response to the Bureau. We don't, as was with the last one, we didn't really, have any communication with the tribe as to, hey, this is what we're gonna support or not support or anything like that. It's strictly gathering the direction from your board as to how we respond to the Bureau and then send that up to the Bureau and that's it.
This normal, Joe, let me see how we do it.
Correct, yeah, and this is pretty much contiguous with what the original 40-acre land grant. This is probably gonna be one of the last ones, as they have developed all around there. I'm not sure they're gonna be able to go north, which is the only other direction they have. That will remain contiguous to the original 40-acre land grant.
This looks like it goes to 18,000. Halfway.
Not quite that, yeah. Not quite to 18. It'll be 17th, because it's 430 acres.
Yeah, okay.
If there are no other questions, Neves moves to go ahead and direct staff to send a response to the Bureau of Indian Affairs.
Yeah, second.
Motion by Neves. Any other comments, questions?
If I could clarify what the motion is, it's to send a response in support of the action or against the action.
In favor.
In favor.
Motion by Neves, second by Lieutenant, Madam Clerk.
Joe Nevs.
Yes.
Richard Valley,
Yes.
Doug Mogul,
Yes.
Rusty Robinson.
Yes.
Richard Fabius.
Thank you. Item passes 5 in favor. We'll move on to public hearing. Final administration. Ms. Boyette. Please.
Again, Matt Boyd, Kings County Administration. So last week, I was before your board with a study session for the county's master fee ordinance update, which I briefly outlined the nature of the master fee schedule, the process, briefly highlighted all the proposed changes, with a timeline of the expected events to come to close out this process here. So this morning, we do have the public hearing scheduled where members of the public can come to the board and make comments related to the proposed changes from or for the master fee schedule. Proper notice was published in the Hampton Sentinel for today's public hearing on May 13th and again on May 18th. So I don't know if you want me to continue on or take up the public hearing now and then continue on with the ordinance piece after.
Why don't you just keep going?
Sure. So then the second part of the recommendation this morning is the actual proposal of the ordinance. So the introduction and first reading. So as discussed again last week in the study session, the proposed ordinance before your board this morning does include the last minute change of the additional fee in the community development agency for the return of check and in the amount of $70. That was not part of the study session, but as part of the discussion was added to the proposed ordinance this morning, which the ordinance was made available to the public as part of the agenda packet as we normally do. So the recommendation staff are making this morning is to go ahead and waive the first reading of the ordinance and introduce the ordinance. If approved this morning, I'll be back before your board on June 6th for the second reading and the formal adoption of that ordinance. And if approved and adopted on June 6th, the ordinance with all proposed changes will be effective July 6th. And with that, that concludes the date.
Can you read it all in about 25 minutes?
The ordinance?
Yeah. Any department heads got anything to add to this presentation? Questions or comments from the board? Madam Clerk, any correspondence?
I did not see any.
Okay, so we'll close the public hearing and we'll bring it back to the board for action.
Questions? If there's no question or comments, I'll waive the first reading and approve as presented.
Thank you. And motion by the teams and by Gildas. Ms. Boya, any feedback from last week's presentation?
I received none. Yes, no phone calls, no emails, nobody's reached out. We did have one comment at the Water Commission meeting last night, inquiring as to if any of the related increases have anything to do with flood impacts or anticipated revenue losses due to the flood. But we outlined that the flooding has nothing to do with any of the changes proposed today, as this process was started back in, I believe, October or so, well before the flooding even started. So this has already been in the works long before the impacts of the flood had been realized. So that has no impact on what we're doing today. So
Thank you. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Joe Nevs.
Yes.
Richard Valley. Jennifer Boone.
Yes.
Rusty Robinson.
Yes.
Richard Lukemia.
Yes. Thank you. Item passes.
thank you.
Okay, board member announcements. We'll start off with Mr. Nicholas.
Continue to be engaged with the flooding issues around. We all attended the Kings County Housing Authority meeting and up to date on that. I want to thank Kings County for doing a great job on the Peace Officers Memorial. Very nice ceremony, very, very well put together. Thank you very much. Kings County Blood Drive on Thursday received 29 donations. Certainly appreciate everyone that donates blood, and especially with the coming up with Memorial Day and summer activities. Please try to set some time aside and try to donate when you can. All donations are greatly appreciated. Travel to Fresno, Calviva Finance Committee, we approved the financial statements and the committee charter. We also at the Regional Health Authority meeting approved Dr. Lisa Lewis to become a new commissioner at large. I was elected vice chair again, as well as Dr. Hodge will remain this year. We accepted all the monthly reports and adopted the 2023-24 budget. South Fork Kings meeting on Thursday evening also heard updates on all the sub-basin updates, as well as outlined the timelines of the 218 election process. continue to talk and meet, about the Stratford levee, repair and maintenance, as we continue to walk through the, water this year. It's pretty much, taken care of. The scary part is next year with everything being full. So it'd be a great opportunity to bring some of these, levee systems up to, a higher standard. Granddaughter's graduation from Fresno State, master's degree in social work. So she will enter the job force real soon. And so good luck to her. Layton had their Layton Lions Club had their Beans and Guisa dinner. Everybody did a great job on that event. And then the Stratford Portuguese celebration on Sunday in Stratford is not the event that it has been in the past, but it was certainly bigger than it has in the post pandemic era. And we had some good weather and some nice, just a great place to eat. So with that, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Supervisor Fernandez, anything there?
No, I'm good. That's my opinion.
You want a second?
Supervisor Fernandez.
Last week, like Jill mentioned, we went to the Housing Authority meeting, and I want to thank the Rotary for having me as a guest speaker to discuss groundwater ordinance and flooding issues on Tuesday. Also had a $17 railroad meeting on Friday. And then I spent the remainder of my free time making props and moving equipment out for the King's Guild for the Children's Hospital fundraiser. I think they raised about $150,000 for that event. So very well attended, 450 people. And next year I'm not going to make eye contact with them, so I'm not doing anything. Jam-packed 15 days of nonstop. So, no, it's a private property down the road. We rebuilt the people movers from the King's Fair that someone destroyed, and built props and moved equipment, set up, and yeah, it was a busy weekend. Well, actually 2 weeks. So. Take a break.
See you later, Ross.
Last week, Housing Authority meeting. Also, I attended the Peace Officers Memorial. That was very nice. Always love when we have an opportunity to celebrate them. Air Board meeting last week too. Ramulus bill, which I believe was like AB 650, didn't make it out of committee. We were trying to increase the number of representatives on the board. We currently have 15. They're trying to send it to 19, but that failed in committee, so it'll stay as it is. Also attended the King's Guild dinner. Nice presentation, and we always wish them well. So.
Thank you. Thanks, Supervisor Robinson. I'll be quick as well. I also attended the Peace Officers Memorial. Nice, very nice memorial event. Second, spent the weekend in San Diego with all the Latino countries, California counties, for our annual planning meeting. And one thing that was different that stood out this time, Latino caucus was made up of Commissioner Sanders, County, all the way back to Valley, another county, and San Joaquin. And usually when we sit down at the table, we don't always agree because politics is regional, right? And so we don't agree on water issues 100%. But right now with all the emergencies, especially flooding and their experiences with wildfire, it seems like 100% of our meeting time is spent on flood issues, the impacts of flood. And some of them were ahead of us, like Red County and Pajaro, they've already seen 3.5 feet of water in their homes, and now the water's drained, and they're dealing with working with FEMA, and people recover with loss damages, especially farm workers, and the challenges of that. So I did an opportunity to learn a lot from them, and hearing firsthand what the challenges are there. So deal with a little bit of that, especially even though the good news we have on not seeing water in our homes, we definitely are going to be dealing with the negative financial impact. So it's already happened this year and possibly next year. So it's a good experience there. Lastly, I do want to thank Dominic for helping me out. We got the phone call here last Tuesday from a garden resident, and somebody had tagged the park, that beautiful park that's out there. the south side, and they tagged the wall 6 feet high from one end all the way to the other side. And so driving out there to look at it, Telson was out there for a long time. And I understand that it was 2 individuals, one of them got home. That's true because whoever did that needs to definitely see some repercussions for that. They destroyed the park. I want to take my kid out there right now to go look at all that, the graffiti and the ugliness that was on that wall. And so I only put in a request, and hopefully it sounds like this week they attempt to get that graffiti off there. I don't know how easy that's going to be with that kind of stucco brickwork on that wall. But I think you all agree that you got to remove it. Just leaving it there is not a good thing, but it's not going to be easy to get that out. So that good news out of the district. But that's what happened right there. Again, thank you, Kyria, for all your help. And everyone else who helped organize for tonight. Appreciate people giving their time to come help us from the community there and so with that, we'll turn it over to
Your board received a summary proposal from KCAG on behalf of self-funded enterprises that was received on May 17th. Community events, we have the Kings County Commission on Aging will host its 5th annual senior health fair this Friday, May 26th from 9 to 1 at the Amber Civic. King's Partnership will be hosting a mental health matters event this Saturday, May 27th from 10 to 1 at the Gateway Park in Portland. The King's Lion Club will be hosting the 2023 Brew Fest Saturday, June 3rd from 5 to 9 at the King's Lion Complex in Lemoore. The city of Avenel will be hosting a spring cleanup 2023 on Saturday, June 3rd and June 10th from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Avenel landfill. There will be allowable at no charge dump of mattresses, sofas, furniture, and household trash. We also will be having our grand opening of the newly remodeled Kings Building on August 30th from 9 to 1. For upcoming agenda items for June 6th, that is next week, the board meeting is canceled. The administration has 2 items, public hearing and second reading for the master fee schedule, approval of amendments to the health administrators and Blue Shield agreements. HSA has 2 items, increase in-home supportive services, public reporting fiscal year budget, and a resolution to proclaim June 2023 as Elder Independent Adult Abuse Awareness Month. IT has a request to approve central service, square tech support, service renewals for finance enterprise. Library has a request regarding infrastructure grant awards, and probation has a request to approve the purchase of some firearms. And Public Health has 2 items, an approval of MOU with the Central California Food Bank diaper distribution program and approval for advanced. Thank you.
Thank you. Takes us to closed sessions, whatever items publicly posted on the agenda. And as mentioned, next regular meeting for May 30th has been canceled due to Memorial Day holiday. We're going to hold a special meeting on Wednesday, May 31st, 10 a.m. Principal interviews, right?
That's correct.
Okay. And then on Monday, June 5th, 2023 at 8:30 a.m. Is that following up on interviews?
That is for a different position, interviews for the different positions.
Okay. Next regularly scheduled meeting will be on Tuesday, June 6th, 2023. Thank you, everybody.
You have the